who's from Lodi.
What really motivated this campaign was a lack of local representation. In this congressional district, where many of you live, there is not a single state or federal legislator who's anchored here, who lives here. We are the most underrepresented people in the country, and it's about time we change that. That's what animated my campaign. We need tonight, we're on the brink of bankruptcy. We know about the catastrophic situation we find ourselves in with respect to water. It is time for homegrown leadership, and this campaign can provide that. I'm a first-generation American. I'm proud to tell you I'm born and raised here. I grew up on the 8 Mile Road between Lodi and Stockton, so I have that split identity. This is a community where I learned my experience. I remember volunteering at Lodi Memorial Hospital. I remember volunteering at St. Mary's Interfaith, south of the Crosstown. This is where I learned the value of the dollar, working in my family's agriculture business. We've been growing wine, grapes, and cherries for the better part of 40 years. That's where I learned the value of the dollar, and we need to take that to Washington. I will tell you, in addition to that, work for the Sacramento Kings, glad they're still staying, help them evaluate draft prospects, work for the Oakland Athletics as a San Francisco Giants fan, but it was there that I helped that team close litigation loopholes. I'm very proud of that work. I'm proud of my public service, though, too. 7 years ago, I had the honor of being appointed by the governor of California to the California State Board of Education. It's there that I learned the hard fight, keeping the high school exit exam in place and maintaining high standards for our students. That is a big issue, and it's one that you're going to see me advocating for. The bottom line is this is the place that I've always called home, and none of my opponents can ever say that. This is a community that's trying to find its voice, and I'd be thrilled if you take refuge in this campaign, too. In the brief time I have tonight, I'd like to tell you where I stand on the defining issues of our era, our time, and our party. First of all, I am a strong fiscal and economic conservative. I'm pledged to repealing and replacing Obamacare, which is crushing job creation in this country. I have signed the Americans for Tax Reform Pledge, meaning that I'm against revenue increases at the federal level. I am very strongly in favor of a balanced budget requirement. More than 40 states have this. I think the federal government should too. They need to learn to live within their means like you do as small business people. In terms of the economy, Gill McDonald is the absentee congressman we absolutely do not need. He doesn't stand for tort reform. He doesn't stand for regulatory relief for our farmers. He's voted against our farmers. That's our biggest core economy in this district, and he has the lowest rating from the California Farm Bureau. In fact, he voted against free trade. This guy doesn't seem to know what district he represents, and it's about time we put an end to his career. That's what this campaign is about. I want you to know that I'm a proud reformer. At the end of the day, the public trust matters a great deal to me. I am a believer in a single subject rule. Every bill in Congress should only apply to one topic. I think you'll agree with that, too. I think we need a line item veto so the president can discipline spending if Congress passes these wasteful earmarks. And we need sunset provisions, because at the end of the day, as Ronald Reagan once admonished us all, the closest thing we have to eternal life on earth is a federal program. I want to fight against that, and I will fight against that. I want you to know I believe in competition in public education and in health care. I don't believe in heavy-handed mandates. I think students, not the unionized special interests, should be the focus of education. That is the fight of the next generation, and you're going to find me fighting that way, too. I am pro-life. I want you to know that I'm committed to that issue. I'm committed to the Second Amendment. These are very important social principles, and I hold them close to me in this campaign and in my life. I want you to know also about the trajectory of this campaign. We have done a lot in since May 17th when I you know, the weather wasn't so good, but that was not an omen for how we would do in this race, because things are looking very bright for us. We have raised to date over $1 million in this campaign, almost all of which has come from individual donors. These are folks like you. They are up and down the Central Valley. The reason I mention that figure is we've raised more than almost every other Republican congressional challenger in the whole country. And we've done that here in this hard-hit economy because people believe. For the first time in a while, they're subscribing to a campaign that's a lot bigger than self. And I really need you to stand with me. I mentioned our fundraising not just because of sheer numbers, but because Jerry McNerney can't seem to raise any money in this new district. All of his money comes from, almost all of his money comes from special interests, which is why he sold us out and sold us short. And almost all of his money comes from the Bay Area from people who can't vote for him. And I don't think that's right to be importing on Congressman. We're fighting against it. I want you to know the National Republican Party is thrilled on my campaign. I was one of the first 11 candidates in the entire United States to be part of their Young Guns Contender program. I guess the word young really is the adjective to describe this campaign, but I'm proud to say that we are scaling the ranks there. And you right now are sitting in what is going to be one of the top 10 congressional races in the country because of the hard work we have done. We have raised money. We are scaring the daylights out of the Democratic establishment. In fact, we have Democratic folks here who are videotaping me right now. They follow me everywhere I go. We're causing a lot of heartburn. It's okay, guys. You can focus your attention here. We're causing them heartburn, but it's just the start. It is just the start. I want you to know that the NRCC, Republican Congressional Committee, believes we have what it takes to win. We are assembling a credible organization with the willpower to win, and I will not let you down. I've been endorsed by prominent local and national figures. You heard from two of them tonight, Leo Aaron Ellis and Bill Berryhill. They're on this team together. They agree that I should be the next United States Congressman. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush has campaigned for me. He crossed the country for me. So did the sitting governor of South Carolina, Nikki Haley, who came to Lodi for me. I want you to know we're going to continue that work journey. We've got a lot of kinetic energy. We are going to keep winning this race. I will just close by saying it's been nearly 20 years since a Republican challenger beat a Democratic congressman in California, but I believe you're staring at the person who's going to make that history happen again. I campaigned with the last person to do it, George Radonovich. I want you to know we're reaching a lot of new groups. All these ethnic communities that the Democrats take for granted, no more in this campaign. I speak Spanish. I'm going to take my story to every precinct in this community, and I want you to know I will never default on your trust. Thank you for your time. I'd be humbled very much.
Not only does experience matter, authenticity matters. I am a business guy. I'm a technology executive. I work in the semiconductor industry. I've done 3 successful startups in a row, creating more than $1 billion of market capitalization. And one commitment that I will make tonight from this microphone is that when I speak, I mean what I say. I'm not going to sit there and make this campaign into some kind of cartoon where I'm going to say something that I don't mean. I'm not going to walk in front of one crowd and say one thing and turn around and go to the University of Pacific and say a different thing. Now, I'm not in a very good mood, and I'm going to admit that right now. And the reason I'm not in a very good mood is because I just did my taxes. I paid $69,000 in taxes. And I found out that I'm a Joe Biden patriot. He believes all patriots are guys who need to pay more in taxes. In my lifetime, I just figured it out. $1,067,167, not counting sales taxes, hotel taxes, airport taxes, toll roads, and how much I can set
Gas.
I included gas taxes. At any rate, there's a lot of taxes in this world. And my campaign is centered around 3 issues. One is energy. Jerry McNerney has green energy as his policy. I'm an electrical engineer. And for those of you who wonder about how many engineers there are in Congress, we have exactly 0. None. And then we wonder why we get the brilliant laws that come out of there. The fact is we have a president who is an inexperienced, unvetted lawyer who everybody got all Twitter-pated about if you watch your Disney movies, elected the man, put him in Congress, and he's an economic illiterate. I have negotiated $1-million contracts all over the world. We talk about farming in this district. Farming is an international business. I've been overseas more than 60 times, talked to all kinds of CEOs all over this planet. I understand negotiation. I understand our trade negotiators are often economic illiterates because they're not selected based upon their experience, they're selected based upon their campaign contributions. Yeah, I'm not very good at that. Because this country has a serious problem. We're headed toward $5 gas. Stockton's going broke. This isn't a time to be joking around with who we put in the Congress. We need to take Jerry McNerney out. He was a failed business leader. His first green company lost $100 million. Before there ever was Solyndra, there was a Mentatech. Look it up. It's easy to Google. $100 million loss. And why? It's because the Democrats insist on having fantasy for their economic policies, for their energy policies. I'm an electrical engineer, I told you that. I understand how electrons work. I understand how a silicon solar panel is made. I understand it costs 35 cents per kilowatt hour to do it. I understand that for every penny per kilowatt hour that California pays more than 25,000 jobs are lost. Think about it. That's an amazing amount of jobs. Now, I'm a serious individual. I plan on making my voice heard when I get to Congress. It's going to be a very joyful time to take on all of lawyers. I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. I actually do have a pretty good time. It would help if I didn't have to run a real job. I'm a vice president. Leadership, you lead by example. You lead by diligence. You lead by working harder than the next guy. You lead from the front. We all talk about what is leadership. Let's talk about leadership. Leaders are experienced. Leaders have scars. Not everything about me. In fact, some of the best things about you, I'm not going to tell you. Because they were failures. There were times when I didn't do such a good job. When I didn't say the right thing. When I didn't carry on my marriage in the best way I could. Those are the scars on my back. And that's what leadership is. That's what great leaders have. They understand failure. They understand success. They've been down all the roads. Not everything is high in the sky. So, let's conclude here. Some of the issues that I want to take to Washington are issues on the regulatory side, like Sarbanes-Oxley. I'm not going to tell you I'm against regulation. I'm going to tell you about what regulation, why I'm against it, what the consequence of that regulation is, and how to fix it. That's the kind of detailed leadership that we need. Leaders understand the details. They felt it. They've been in it. I see Sarbanes-Oxley destroying our tech community. I see the regulations destroying other communities. I see what CARB is. Why don't you ask us all about where we stand on environmental issues? Do we believe in global warming? Do we believe in Agenda 21? Or are we, kind of ambivalent about these types of issues? Let's ask the candidates. Let's vet the candidates. Let's ask me the hard questions. Drill me with any question you can in a hard way. And let's see if you get an answer that sounds pretty good, but isn't authentic. Or we're going to get a guy who actually knows his issues, who's lived his issues, and who wants to make this country better. I'm passionate about my country. My relatives have fought and died for this country. My ancestral grandfather was wounded by front of this country. My wife's grandfather has a Silver Star fighting for this country. I want the best country possible for my children to grow up in. I want the best possible country for when our veterans come home. I don't want to leave everybody steal all the money from our future generations. It's wrong. Think about it. Freedom is not only what we can say, but it is also economic freedom. A slave is somebody with 100% taxation. We're enslaving our children on their amount of debt. We need to stop that. We need somebody who's passionate to take these people on. There isn't any. I've been in the politics. Nobody's going to sway me. I've got a backbone of titanium. Trust me.
If I get a little long, just kick me. Okay, Ben?
This is actually for Ricky and John. What do you plan to do to stop the out-of-control liberal agenda that's scurrying our state? Some examples are CARB, property rights, state taxes on gasoline, Prop 13, and taking the burden off the taxpayers and we control and entitlements.
Wow. Oh my
my gosh. How do you stop it? One of the things I think is the most important thing to do is I think we have to build a party. Because this is not an issue that's going to, there's any magic bullet. It's going to take a lot of hard work, just like abolition took more than a century, nearly 2 centuries, to go and accomplish. California is in a world of hurt, and we're going to have to build. That means we got to get out of the universities, we got to build up our college Republicans, we got to build up our conservatives all over, and that's one of the things I want to do. I want to get out, and I want to talk as an executive. Stop talking inside of Washington so much, but we've got to change hearts and minds.
I would say there are structural reforms we can embrace. We're talking about in this campaign. It is almost a near-burden balanced budget requirement, which is very important. I think as conservatives, we all agree with values of federalism. If it's working at the state level, it can work at the federal government. More than 40 states have that requirement, and that's why I also think it's a moral question about spending regarding the next generation. Those generations of taxpayers who are not even born yet, who are going to bear this debt. It is a matter of intergenerational trust. We need to foster that in politics. I think we do need to build the appeal of the Republican Party. You are going to see that in this campaign. We are going to build the appeal in this campaign. Hopefully, it'll be a test case for what can work elsewhere. With regard to property rights, I just want to state this for the record. This was one of the first kind of public fights that I waged. I'm not sure if you recall 6 years ago, but folks who were living between Lodi and Stockton, their property rights were kind of precarious. It was tempting to zone people out of their property rights. And I stood up against that. Property rights, I know there are folks who are involved with the San Joaquin Land Alliance. I think actually Leroy Arnell's may be involved with that. It's a very, very important fight. We cannot zone people out of their property rights. It's grounded in the Constitution. You compensate people if that happens. And the city of Lodi wasn't prepared to do that. We were kind of engaged in that fight. It's very important. It's the foundation of our economic system, and that's where my heart is.
Okay, Dennis?
This again is addressed to both of you. When elected to Congress, will you stand with the establishment or with the conservatives? Be specific. Tell us what the difference is.
I think principled leadership is what people in this district are yearning for. And I'll give you a great example of standing up against the establishment. Just last week, there was a water bill that was passed that members of Congress in my own party, some of whom are friends of mine, were passing. It was aggressively against the Delta. And I took a very public stand against it. And that's an example of standing up against the establishment, fighting for a principle you really believe in. I think it's very important to be grounded in this community. There is a sanction, if you will, that comes from living in a community for a long time. People see you and they are going to hold me accountable. And I pledge to you that I will be more in circulation than probably you want me to be. And you're going to be able to hold my feet to the fire.
Yeah, you won't find Munger among my donors. At any rate, what a conservative is simply this. It's somebody who believes in the Constitution, it's somebody who believes in liberty, it's somebody who believes that you can decide better where your money should go in your life than the government. It believes in a very limited government. That's what I believe. There was 22 heroes in Congress who said no to the deficit increase. I'll be counted among those if I go to Congress. The number will be 23.
Okay, this is for both of you. What can you do to end baseline budgeting if you are elected?
You have to go against the establishment for starters, because despite what they say, both parties very often go along with it. On an intellectual basis, one party, the Republicans, fight it dramatically. But in terms of baseline budgeting, it is one of the core problems in terms of why the budget just keeps getting increased and increased and increased. But at the end of the day, you've got to have the willpower, you've got to have the backbone, and if you're trading your soul so you get elected on the next thing, worried about where your campaign contributions are going to come from, you won't have the backbone. You've got to look at the character, and that's why the vetting process on which candidate you select is so critical. You have to understand saying we're going up there to talk about a $4 trillion deficit budget, depending on wherever President Obama's stimulus is going to go. It's hard to predict. But one last issue. Who are you going to trust? A guy who sits there and does 3 companies successfully, that's a guy who understands how to balance budgets. That's not a guy who says, I can take a little tiny bit of money and go against billion-dollar corporations and leave them in the dust.
What I would say in response to your question, Betty, is it's very important that we define the terms of the debate. And right now, the way the federal government defines a reduction is just to reduce the rate of the increase, which only in Washington would that be acceptable. What I will tell you is, I had a great conversation with a supporter of mine, George Shultz, about this very topic. George used to be Ronald Reagan's Secretary of State. He's a great supporter of mine. What Ronald Reagan did on nuclear weapons is kind of analogous to what we need to do on spending. Before President Reagan came into office, everyone said, well, to reduce nuclear weapons is actually just to reduce the rate of the increase. Well, it's Ronald Reagan who redefined the debate so that a reduction was an absolute reduction in nuclear weapons. He was the first president to do that. I think we need a new generation of leadership to get there. We need to, we can craft that new generation in a district like this, or we can be the ones who are on the cutting edge of it. And this campaign represents that potential.
Thank both of you, and I think that's the question you got from me. Thank you both. Thank you. So, what do you think? You think McNerney's... Many of us can't wait for that day. Let's be honest. Okay. I have, let's see, I have a couple of people that have want to come up. But first, Colin Hunter is going to come up and do a couple-minute advocacy for Ricky Gill. Colin?
You're good. Good.
Okay. It's all the way back.
Law school. I was actually an analyst in the Central Intelligence Agency. That's what my background is. I'm trying to put that to work to bring a change of leadership here in the 9th District. A few words about Ricky very quickly, beyond what he said. Ricky has a work ethic like nobody will ever meet. And if you endorse him, I guarantee you Ricky's going to work his fingers to the bone to beat Jerry McNerney. Ricky's got the energy, he's got the local roots, he's got the fundraising, he's got the organization to beat McNerney, who's a 3-term incumbent. All that stuff is important. I want to say a couple of words because I think Ricky's opponent frankly misrepresented Ricky's positions. And I think that deserves to be responded to. He alleged that Ricky had somehow changed his stances based on the audience in which he appears. I've been at basically every public appearance Ricky has made since the beginning of this campaign. I can tell you he's been consistent since day one. If the issue to which John McDonald is alluding is pro-life, I was at the event at the UOP. Ricky said he was pro-life. I've got the audio. You're welcome to listen to it if you like. But if you want to talk about changing positions, I've got a piece of literature that John McDonald was distributing at the beginning of his campaign, which he says he advocates constructing a peripheral canal. Now he seems to have backed off that position because it's unpopular. Is that the kind of guy you want to send to Washington? It's not the kind of guy I want representing me. He also told the Lodi News Sentinel that he hired a liberal Democrat to help to help manage his campaign. I think we can legitimately question whether he's a committed conservative. And again, I urge you to endorse Ricky Gill tonight as your candidate for the 9th District. Thank you.
John, did you have...
Lights.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. This is Suki Baines, and Suki is going to speak for John. Hi, good evening.
I came here to go with my surprise and really, the last few years, I've not too Now, I've known John for 1 year. In that 1 year, John's had a huge impact on the way that I perceive America and how we can change it. Now, the previous gentleman was talking about John and getting into the negative politics, which is so much of in America. Coming from the UK, we don't see that. We see politicians talking about the issues. Now, one thing I will say about John and John's change of stance on certain subjects, but one thing I do know about John, he does work. I live in the community where he works, where he lives, and I know that John works till the early hours in the morning, researching about the Delta, reading papers, reading scientific papers, talking to people, learning, understanding, and then making an informed decision. Yes, maybe he may have got it wrong, but he's now corrected his position. There's a lot of talk about passion. Everyone uses that word passion. It's so easy to say, I'm going to be passionate. I tell you what passion is: doing a full-time job, doing 3 hours of commuting every single day, and coming back and running for Congress. That's John McDonald. He plays back into politics. And that passion really impresses me. This is somebody who wanting power has been able to make change. Far too many politicians who are into suits, say the right thing, look nice, but at the end of the day, they're not going to do the right thing. And one thing I know about John McDonald is that he will do the right thing purely because he takes time to learn about the subjects and to make informed decisions and then to pursue those passionate. John is the candidate for District 9 that's going to make a big change locally and nationally.
Thank you, Suki, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you've heard both of our candidates now for the Congressional District 9. And